Jesus said, "Man cannot live on bread alone, but from every word that proceeds from the mouth of God." You're listening to Daily Truth.
To live by faith, giving a definition, not merely a definition of faith, but a definition of what it is to live in faith, live by faith. And what it is, for that matter, to do anything in faith is as follows. To live by faith is to be governed by a dependence on God's grace and a desire for God's glory. I've said it multiple times, I'll say it again. Someone who is not a Christian cannot do anything in faith. According to Romans chapter 14, that which does not proceed from faith is sin. According to Hebrews chapter 11, as we'll see later on, anything not done in faith is sin. That's Romans 14. And Hebrews 11, without faith, it is impossible to please God. So that any action, any thought, any word, any speech that a person performs throughout the course of their life, if it does not come from faith, it is filthy rags. It is ultimately an offense to God. It is sin. It is ultimately, in the highest sense of morality, it is sin, immoral. It is not pleasing to God. Now, that is not to say that unbelievers cannot outwardly perform in their deeds or speech certain things that do in fact align with God's moral will. You can be an atheist and not commit adultery. You can be an atheist and not steal. But what you cannot do is be an atheist and be faithful in marriage, resist any temptation to steal, and to do it all from a dependence on God's grace and with a desire for God's glory. You can't do that. To do something in faith is not just to do the right thing, but it is to do the right thing with the right heart, with the right posture, from the right motives. It is to do something with a full acknowledgement that you could not take your next breath apart from the grace of God. I am doing whatever I'm doing. I am doing it with a complete reliance and dependence on God's grace for my physical existence and life and health and happiness, my giftings, my intellect, my IQ, everything that I have comes from God. My surroundings and circumstances, environment, all this within God's gracious providence. So to do something in faith is not just to do outwardly the right thing, but it is to do the right thing with a reliance on the grace of God, recognizing I couldn't do it if it were not for God, His grace, His strength, His providence, but also not just a reliance on God's grace, but a desire for God's glory. I am doing this to help my fellow man. I'm going to be faithful in marriage for the sake of my wife, for the sake of my kids, but all of it I am doing ultimately to bring glory to God. That my highest aspiration, my deepest heart motive, is not just kindness and love and fidelity towards my spouse, or kindness and love and provision for my family, or even a love for neighbor. No, my highest ambition is to the praise of His glorious grace.
Houston, we have a problem. I repeat, we have a problem. Our conference is about to sell out. I mean, about to sell out. We probably have about 75 to 100 seats left. Our venue holds about 525 to 550 seats, and we currently have 450 people who are registered for this conference. The excitement is tangible. A lot of people registered because they wanted to hit the early bird rate. We're now at our normal rate, $130 for an adult, $50 for a kid who's 11 to 17 years old, and kids 10 and under get in free. You can bring the whole family, but the problem is not that we're going to raise the rate again. The problem is we're going to run out of tickets, and we're going to run out pretty fast. Again, we've got about 100 seats or less. 450 people 6 months out are already registered for this conference. We don't want you to miss it. So, to ensure that you get to make it to this conference, you need to register not a month from now, not a week from now, not tomorrow, but today. You want to be there for the Theonomy and Postmillennialism Conference, May 5th, 6th, and 7th, with James White, Joe Boot, Gary DeMar, Dale Partridge, and yours truly, Joel Webbon. Go to rightresponseconference.com. Again, that's rightresponseconference.com. It will sell out very soon.